The last leg of the trip to Cheongdai-san is a 40-minute bus ride. It's a bus that only passes about every hour and a half to 2 hours. And I'd like to show you just a little bit of that trip because it lets me show you something that's kind of interesting and unexplored, which is the Korean countryside. Now, actually spent a fair amount of time in the Chinese countryside, a lot of Chinese rural areas. Obviously, I have not had time in this country to do the same, but honestly, it sometimes kind of eludes me that there even is a countryside because this country is very, very densely built, very built up, and it's hard to imagine, but there are still rural areas in between the cities, and for the next 2.5 minutes, that's what you're going to see. Now, compared to the areas between Chinese cities, these actually still look a lot more built up. I mean, what you're seeing now are the actual farming areas, but eventually we will get to some towns. And again, kind of keeping with this idea of Korea being on average more westernized and more developed than China, they do kind of look more familiar. You see these little towns, they have convenience stores and they have grocery stores and have, even to some extent, they have entertainment venues, even though most of that's going to be in the cities. Which is a far cry from some of the little farming villages and the little mountain villages I've been in China. So this is definitely a major departure. The rest of this, though, you are seeing the more farming areas. Now, it is worth noting the bus out to Jungdaesan is pretty expensive, which is usually the case for a lot of these rural bus lines. Now, you might think, as I did initially, that that's because it's going to a tourist site, so they're going to charge more. But really, a lot of people do just use these buses to get to and from these rural areas. But again, because they are of more limited use, they do charge more. The mini buses in China were much the same way. And if there's any interest in this, I do have a story I could tell about that. But for now, I'm going to let you enjoy the last half a minute or so of this trip with a little bit of blessed silence. So take it easy and see you in the next video.